Yeah, that look right there. That is pure, unfiltered aggravation. And if you've been following this channel, you probably already know what that means. It means I figured out yet again that my dose was off. Not a little off, half. I've been dosing myself at half of what I was getting from the pharmacy, and not just for 1 week or 2 weeks, but for several weeks. Here's the thing. Since I made the full switch from pharmacy grade Tirzepatide to the peptide version, I have been on a steep learning curve. And I mean steep. Learning how to properly concentrate and formulate the peptide to match prescription grade isn't something you just Google and figure out in an afternoon. It takes time. It takes research. And honestly, it takes some humbling mistakes along the way, and I knew something was off. I felt it. The craving started creeping back. The appetite suppression that had been doing so much work for me, it was fading. Slowly at first, and then noticeably. I kept brushing it off, telling myself it was just a rough week, just stress, just life getting in the way. But then I went deeper into the research, and there it was. I had been reconstituting the peptide incorrectly, concentrating it in a way that cut my effective dose in half without me realizing it. Taking other people's advice, thinking I was formulating it properly, but then researching it and finding out they were wrong, and I should have probably put a little bit more thought into it in the beginning. So while I thought I was dialing things in, was actually working against myself the whole time. And it wouldn't be the first time. But let me be transparent about the numbers, because I know that's why a lot of you are here. I'm paying just over $100 for the peptide version. Compared that to what I was spending on the pharmacy grade, that's a savings of over $284 every single month, possibly even more, because they were trying to increase it even more as I went more and more into the months with the prescription grade stuff. We're just talking about this every single month. That's real money. That's life-changing money for a lot of people. And yes, I know the peptide version comes with the label not for human use, for laboratory research only, but here's my honest take on that. The language exists because the FDA is still working out how to regulate these compounds, and they're popping up everywhere. I'll let you form your own opinion about the FDA and what regulation actually means in this country, but I will ask this question out loud, and then you could decide if you want to respond in the comments. How sick does a person have to be before they can afford the medical care that saves their life? Because the reality is, the healthcare industry gravitates towards sick people. That's what keeps the machine running. Medicine, in a lot of ways, is a Band-Aid. It treats the symptom. It manages the problem. And there is an enormous industry built around keeping you in that cycle. But real health, sustainable health, that doesn't come from a Band-Aid. And sometimes peeling that Band-Aid back reveals a hard truth that most people aren't ready to face. It takes intentionality. It takes hard work. It takes discipline. Saying no when it is 1,000 times easier to say yes. We are wired as human beings to chase comfort, to move towards what's easy and away from what hurts. And I say every single week that I'm pushing a needle into my skin. I want you to understand what that represents. Because no, it doesn't feel good. Yes, it's uncomfortable. And I could choose not to do it. I could put down the injection, keep eating the way I was eating, and coast. But what is on the other side of that discomfort? That's the question worth asking. The food industry in this country is not designed to help you be healthy. It is engineered right down to the flavor profiles, the portion sizes, which if you're not from America and you're watching, our portion sizes here are massive. The marketing, all for one thing, to get you hooked and to keep you there. Breaking free from that takes more than willpower. It takes a strategy. It takes a system. And sometimes it takes medical support to get there. That's what this journey is about for me. It's not a quick fix. It's all about strategy. All right, week 17, let's get into it. Things have been different since I last posted, and I owe you some honesty about that. Life has been full. Work, family, trying to find balance in the middle of all of it. It hasn't been easy. And I want to be clear. It's not an excuse. It's just the reality of where I'm at right now. Real life doesn't pause for a content schedule. And I'd rather be straight with you than pretend everything is perfectly dialed in. But here's what hasn't changed. I'm still injecting every week. No missed doses. I have been playing more and more pickleball with my son, and honestly, that has been one of the best parts of my weeks every time we get out there. Movement doesn't have to feel like punishment. It can be something you actually look forward to. For me, that's been pickleball. I finally found something. I was telling my son this the other day. I finally found something that I could do that moves my body, and I enjoy doing it. I get to spend a lot of time with my son and my daughter. On the nutrition side, I'm still figuring out how to eat better while I'm out on the road in my sales position. That's its own ongoing challenge. And I'll probably do a dedicated video on it because I know a lot of you are dealing with the same thing, trying to make good choices when your schedule doesn't exactly cooperate. One thing I did put down for now is the NAD+. That injection itself is just too uncomfortable for me to maintain consistently right now. I'm not ruling it out long term, but for the moment, it's on pause. Now, here is what is new. Something I have been wanting to talk about. I recently started testosterone injections. My levels came back seriously low, and my doctor put me on a once-weekly intramuscular injection to address it. The goal is more energy, better sleep, improved libido. And if you know what low testosterone actually feels like, you understand those aren't small quality of life issues. They're significant. I want to be real about what this experience has been like because it is very different from Tirzepatide. That little needle I use for Tirzepatide, I barely think about it anymore. This one, 3 to 4 times the length into the muscle. Then, first time I prepped it, I just stood there for a minute. You probably see it in the footage. Me doing my mental prep routine before I finally push it in. Because yes, I absolutely have to psych myself out for this one. And once it's in, the tightening in the arm is real. If you've seen any of my recent clips, you've probably watched me moving my arm around afterwards or pressing frozen vegetables wrapped in cloth against the injection site. That's not for show. That's me managing the discomfort. This week was my second dose. I warmed a solution before injecting, something I didn't do the first time and came from a recommendation from a friend that takes the same injection, and it made a noticeably difference. A bit smoother, a bit less painful overall. The tightening still happened, but it was more manageable. Do I enjoy it? No, not even a little. Am I committed to it? Absolutely, because I understand what's on the other side of that pain. I'm not thrilled about what the scale has been showing lately. I won't pretend otherwise, but it makes sense now. Half a dose of Tirzepatide means significantly less appetite suppression, which means I've been eating more than I realized for weeks, and the body responds accordingly. Now that I've identified the dosing error for the second time and corrected it, I'm optimistic we'll see real momentum again going into next week, and I'll give you an update when I have it. But before I let you go, something I've been wanting to say. We crossed over 100 subscribers on this channel. I know that might sound modest, but to me, that's 100 real people who choose to follow this journey, and that means something to me. Over on my other channel, Food Service Education, where I teach industry certifications for hospitality and food service professionals, we just crossed 20,000 subscribers, so I know what growth looks like, and I know what's possible here. If that's a world you're curious about, go check it out. Link is in the description. So that's week 17. Dosing corrected, testosterone added, NAD plus on pause. Life in full swing. It's messier than I expected when I started this journey, more humbling, but here's what I keep coming back to. Everybody's body is different. Our composition, our DNA, our hormones, our history, all of it factors into how we respond, how fast we progress, and honestly, how we feel along. The science is not a one-size-fits-all. And the learning process is always the longest part. But give yourself some grace for that. If this content has been useful to you, share it. Send it to someone on their own health journey. Leave a comment and let me know where you're at. And go check out the other videos on this channel. There's a lot here that might surprise you. I'll see you in the next one.